The next question, Erin, is tell me about your philanthropic efforts, both with Radies and with your Angels program. I've talked about my Angels program before. I used to go to Radies, and I would see people in the lobby, or people would come to me from Radies, but I never became the official wig person from Radies until several years ago. And one of the child life specialists called me and said, we've been hearing about you and you're doing this all on your own, and we would like to meet you and come to Radies, and we'd like to come to your salon and see what you have to offer and so forth and so on. And so that was maybe 6 years ago, and it has been the most blessed thing that I have done with my professional and personal life. I have gotten such joy and blessing and courage. A lot of people have said they want to come with me and see it and so forth, and some people have said they would like to come and help. Some financially help, and some want to go and actually, carry wigs for me and so forth. And sometimes that works out and sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of tough to see the kids, and it's not easy. But I've been there. I've done that. So I can take my wig off and they see me bald, and there's an instant rapport. How do you go about finding some place to give back? How do you go about getting that extra dimension in your life? I think the first thing you have to do is think about it seriously. And then I want you to pray about it, wherever your faith may lead you. Because it's not an easy thing. Because when you ask that that's where you want to be, or when you ask, show me where I should go, what I should do, I want to give back, I want to be of service. Babe, 10 times out of 10, you're going to get an answer. And usually the answer comes with the hardships of learning the testimony. To get a testimony, darn it, you gotta walk it. And I have instant rapport with the kids because I've been there and done that. I know that you might do something else in some areas and use your talents to help. But I gotta tell you something, if you want to get out of the doldrums, and if you want to have encouragement, the first thing you have to do is get up. The second thing, you have to suit up and then you show up. That's my motto. Get up, suit up, and show up. And the rest of it kind of falls into place. But be prepared for that when you get your epiphany. I tell all my women that come in here with their cancer and get their wigs, and they say, well, what shall I do? What shall I do? And I said, the first thing you need to do is get well. Put all your focus on getting well, 110% of you. And then, as you're getting well, that epiphany will happen. That light will go off. That aha moment when you least expect it. That's what happened with me and Radies. An instant love affair. And what I do now is the child life specialist, who is really the liaison from Rady Children's Hospital to the parents and to the community. They will call me and say, I have a precious girl, it's Amanda, and she's 16, and she's losing her hair, blah, 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 color blonde, blah, blah, blah. And so what I do is I set up an appointment, and V, my assistant, and I drive down to Rady's. We pull into the round circle there, and we unload our beauty shop. We take all the wigs, we take the steamers, we take the scissors, we take the thinners, we take the cutters, we take the big tripod, we take the canvas. We look like, 3 or 4 bag ladies by the time we carry all these bags in. But we found that that's the best way to do it, because the kids want instant gratification. They're in the rooms, the second floor. Second floor of Rady Children's Hospital is the, in that certain pavilion is the acute care. So a lot of times V and I will set up usually in the waiting room or in the family area, sometimes in the bathroom, and we'll set up our little shop, and then we'll go room to room and see the children that we're supposed to see. And I go in and I say, we're gonna, if they're young, the younger they are, usually I say, we're gonna play booty shop. And we try on different wigs, and they giggle and they laugh, and sometimes they're too sick to do that, but I know in their eyes they want to have hair, they want to look like the other kids. It's a bright spot in their day. And then what V and I do after they make their choice, we go immediately into the waiting room where we have set up shop, and we cut and we thin and we sew by hand, and we customize that wig to fit that little girl and even that little boy. I had a great little guy called Oscar. I'm going to tell you about him later. And then after that, we go back in their room after we've done the wig and fixed it for them and thinned it. Doing wigs for children is a little different, and you have to cut a little different. You have to sew a little differently because you're making it very, very tiny. There are a few children's wigs out there, but they're for the smallest of heads. Usually I'll have to take a petite or a small wig and cut it down and hand sew it to make it fit them. I think the smallest baby I've done was 2 years old. And she was so precious. Her mother wanted a beautiful picture of her with hair like she used to have. And she was just getting, little toddler 2-year hair. That was probably the most difficult wig I've done. And then I guess maybe the oldest has been 19. And Radius is a wonderful, wonderful hospital, Rady Children's Hospital. San Diego should be so proud. They set it all up. They set me all up. They pay a small portion of the wig, and then I take care of the rest of it, and all of our time and resources and extra wigs and everything, of course, is free. And you can help by donating directly to Rady Children's Hospital. You can even put on your check that you want it to go toward the wigs for the children that have lost their hair due to medication, and 9 times out of 10 it's cancer. I've done some that had brain operations and so forth, and they didn't get their hair back, and I've done a couple of them, but 98% of the time it's because of cancer, and the medications that they're on are so caustic that they lose their hair. That's just part of the battle. I want to tell you about Oscar because he is the most precious. This was also the hardest wig I ever did. Most of the girls want the long, straight hair, and you sew it and cut it and make it straight, and they're happy. No bangs off to the side. You know the look, that little teenage look. But Oscar was my first boy. Well, no, he wasn't. I had Rob Vick, and he wanted a Justin Bieber. Now, that was fun. I cut him a Justin Bieber wig. But little Oscar had cancer on the bones and had recur, and he was 13 now. And Oscar hadn't had hair since he was, I think, 6, 5. And it was tough on him. God love him. His family was so wonderful. And he was a big boy now at 12. Nice little husky guy. And he was, had almost like a hole in his back, and he was in a wheelchair. And the days that I saw him, he was in bed at the clinic part of Rady's getting his chemotherapy. So I had to go out and find a handmade, hand-tied man's wig. And then I had to sew that little sucker all by hand to fit him. And then when you're doing a man's wig, it's almost like, because he wanted it short on the sides and short in the back and then kind of tousled on top. And that's really tough. It's like manicuring a lawn with scissors and tweezers. But when I took it to him, he was going to go to, I think, a dance the next week or two after he got out of the clinic having his chemo. And he was so excited. He started laughing. And the other kids in clinic, they're in little sections. They don't have private rooms like they do upstairs on the second floor when they're in acute care. A lot of times they'll come into clinic, get their chemotherapy, and they're well enough to go back home after a day or two. So anyway, Oscar's there, and we got this wig on him, and he looks like a living doll. I had it black and with a little brown in it. He looked like a doll. And he was giggling, his mom was jumping up and down. Then the other kids heard it. Then they started laughing, and it was just a wonderful day. You've never, ever, ever seen courage like these little kids. They're old beyond their years. They're wise beyond their years. And if you want to give back in a special way, I urge you to donate to Rady Children's Hospital in San Diego. No one is ever turned away from that hospital. And I don't care what your financial resources are. If you have millions or if you have $1, they will take care of you as if you were a king and a queen. And they're so frugal with their money. They're so responsible. It's like if I give $1 to them, if I give an hour, if I give 12 hours, if I give 120 hours, if I give 400 wigs or 5 wigs, they use it to the best possible resource that they possibly can. And you know that what you're doing for them is doing good for others as well as for yourself. Do yourself a favor and go out and give. The other little program that I have is strictly something from me, and it's called my Angels program. I am not a non-profit organization, and I don't know how to go about doing that or if I'd even want to do that. I do charge. I charge for the product, and then my services are all free, and that's my give back part. And then here at Patty's Pearls, we also have our Angel Fund. Our Angel Fund is wigs that the women no longer need. They give them to me, and I refurbish, recut them, and reservice them so that someone else can use it for free. Or women will give me money, or I will put money and wigs in my Angel Fund myself. A lot of times women will buy wigs and they'll add another $25 and say, put that in your Angel Fund. Who's viable for our Angel Fund? Just about anybody that walks in and they want a wig and they need a wig. It's been exciting, and it's been humbling to see that how to give from the Angel Fund and keep the dignity intact. And it's a very interesting thing. If you're military, if you're on Medi-Cal, if you're a child, immediately your wig is free. However, there are times when I know financially that it's a burden. And I don't know how I know it. I know that I find out later that there was really a need there, and I didn't even know it, except I knew in my heart, I call it the Holy Spirit. I knew that I was supposed to donate that wig, and I was to give my services free, and I was to do it with love and great joy. And so we do that. So people give us wigs, they give us a little money here and there, and we do it on our own, and it's called our Angel Fund. And then, of course, always remember to give to Rady's. The American Cancer Society also has some wigs that they give away. Usually they're out of stock wigs, discontinued wigs, and so forth. And a lot of times the women will call me. They get my name from, again, the doctors, the chemo nurses, and so forth. And then they'll bring it to me and I'll size it and fit it for them free. Then you say, what is the most common reasons that someone is having a wig donated to them? Well, I just told you. It's a financial need, it's emotional need, and we find that need out in so many ways. Somebody else will call me and say, I'm sending somebody over, could you do an angel fund for her? Or I'm sending somebody over, give her the wig and then send me the bill. So that kind of thing happens all the time. Why do they get the wigs? Usually it's because of illness. There are so many illnesses that you lose your hair. It could be hepatitis, it could be lupus, it could be rheumatoid arthritis, there are MS, there are a lot of different ailments that the medicines will cause your hair to thin very, very much, or will cause you to lose your hair. And that's where I come in, and Patty's Pearls. Have I seen people influenced by getting a wig? That seems like such a trite little question. Yes, of course. But the truth of it is amazing the difference that you can see in someone. They come in sad, they cry. I have Kleenex right here and little napkins, and it's okay to cry because we're private here. They feel safe here, so they can let down their guard. What was I going to say? Influenced by a wig, just happier. I see their confidence when you get the wig on and I start messing with it and making it loose and fly. And I would say the messier the wig, the more it looks like hair. People can tell me my hair looks a mess and I say yes, because it's not my hair. And then people will tell me, where do you get your hair done? And I go, oh, if I don't want to tell them it's a wig, I say, oh, I have to go clear to LA to get my hair done. But usually it's just the opposite. I'll tell them, well, it's a wig, and give them a card and say, I hope you don't need me, but if you do, give me a call. Why do I think hair is such an important part of people's identity? I'm going to answer that one, and then we're going to take a little break. I think the main reason that it's such an important part of our identity is our culture. I'm sure there are tribes in Africa and in the Amazon where it's so hot and humid that everybody's bald because hair's too hot, and they're just fine with it. We have grown up, especially in this country and in Europe, to see hair as a symbol of beauty, like in the Bible with David and Bathsheba, with her hair. And remember Delilah and Samson, that he had his beautiful hair cut off and he lost his strength. There have been, in French, during the French Revolution, Marie Antoinette, wigs and big hair was a symbol of high class, a symbol of money, and being in the patrician sort of the community. And then we've just seen hair as part of a little baby. You'll say, oh, he's so cute, and you should see his little bitty black hair. It's just the way we grow up. And little girls get dolls that have hair. And the TV ads, they have hair. And so we're thought to believe that hair represents health. It represents beauty. It represents a certain class of people. It can represent wealth. And all of that combined gives us a culture where all of a sudden hair becomes very important in our life. That's where we are now. 100 years from now, we all might be bald, and wearing hair would seem ridiculous. Who knows? I'm going to stop for a